YouTube has announced a brand new program and it's called BrandConnect Open Call. And I watched the video on it and, on the surface, it looks pretty good. It looks fairly promising. But the more I kind of dug into it as they were playing it out, pulling on my experience of working with brands and sponsorships, there's some things in there that I just didn't think was a good deal. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you the video, show you the announcement, and then kind of go through and point out some things that if you've never worked with a brand or a sponsorship that maybe you haven't thought about. This isn't to dissuade you from doing it. I just like to call it to your attention. Obviously, you make up your own mind. So we're gonna jump into it and we're gonna watch this together where they're talking about it.
First, brands create open calls. If you match the advertiser's criteria, the open call will be surfaced to you on the YouTube Studio app within the Earn tab under BrandConnect. Opportunities are currently not viewable on desktop. From there, you can review project information and payment. If you're interested, create and submit content to be considered for selection. Open calls are for shorts only with the intention of being a lighter lift for creators.
And by the way, that's all a mock-up. I actually checked it and I don't have it yet, but what they just showed you is a mock-up. So I'm not even sure those are those are real advertisers.
Content edits are not supported. So once you submit a video, it's final. The brand cannot request modifications. If the brand approves your video, you can earn up to $3,500. The amount may vary depending on the project and will be stated in the invitation so you can understand payment before creating. If your content is selected, you'll get a notification, and if applicable, payment will be sent to your AdSense account within 60 days. If your video is not selected by the advertiser, you won't receive payment. However, you'll still be eligible to submit videos for other open call opportunities. Selected content may be used as a partnership ad by the brand for 180 days, giving you increased exposure to sponsors and viewers. If the advertiser wishes to reuse the video beyond this 180-day period or continue partnering with you, they're responsible for contacting you to negotiate new terms. You can view and manage your submissions and partnerships within the Studio app.
Okay, so again, on the surface, kudos to YouTube for finding ways for us creators to possibly work with brands and do sponsorships and things. Now, a couple of things. This is only available in the US. Sorry about that. I don't make the rules. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just the content creator. And you have to be in the YouTube Partner Program. And if that applies, you're only going to see projects that may match your criteria. So again, on the surface, it all sounds good. And I'm totally coming at this from someone who works with brands, has worked with brands, and does sponsorships. So first of all, like she pointed out, it only works in the Studio app. So like for me to even see if it was even active on mine, if there were any brand connects out there, I had to download the Studio app on my phone, which I deleted a long time ago, and just to see. So there's that. That's not a big deal. There's a couple of things in here to me that aren't deal breakers, if you will. But the one thing though that was kind of a red flag to me is that you have to create a video and submit it to even be considered. So when I worked in television, we had this thing called spec work. Spec script. So occasionally we would have an advertiser that, they didn't really know if they wanted to do television and, or even work with our station or whatever. And so we would write a spec script of what it might be. Well, that takes time. Well, to me, this is like one step beyond that. When you see the brief, as I call it, and you think, hey, I'm interested in that, you actually have to create the video. Then you have to upload it as an unlisted video. And somewhere in there, she mentioned it's got to be a short. Well, a short can be up to 3 minutes. And I actually looked at some more of the paperwork on this, and I didn't see that, it was going to be limited to like 90 seconds or 60 seconds. So let's just play with that. Let's say you end up producing an up to 3-minute video and you submit it. They might not ever use it. So you actually have to do the work and the creative, hoping that you get picked. I have an issue with that. My time is worth something. I want to value my creative, whether you do or not. That's up to you. But I do. And for me just to do a spec video. And my gut is they don't want just a talking head saying, "Hi, I'm Kevin, and I want you to check out this product because I think a lot of it." I imagine it's going to have some production elements to it. So there was that. And I didn't care for the fact that, I would have to do the work and upload it and wait and see. The second thing is, and I really kind of take a little issue with this, is when YouTube says that the reason they're considering shorts is because, quote, it's a lighter lift for creators. Well, again, if I can just do a talking head spot read for a client, sure. I mean, what the heck? But I can't. I mean, I think they're going to want more production. So I know some people that put more time into producing a short than a long form. So this fantasy that, oh, well, it's just a lighter lift, it's just a short, it's like that almost flies in the face of everything YouTube says about shorts, kind of. So, I mean, there was also that. And going back to the other point, again, when a brand approaches me and we're talking back and forth, I get to see more of their ideas. We're talking together. This is just, you kind of go, it's like a job board. You read the job board, I'm interested in that, and you submit it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I much more prefer talking with the brand or the agency or something like that. Now, I did like this, that brands cannot edit the video, nor can they request changes. I would recommend this. So this is a little pro tip. If you get into a position where you're working with a brand for a sponsorship or however you want to do it, you're doing an entire review video, by all means, get it in writing. I love to take people at their word, but this is business. It's business, people. It's business. And you want everything in writing. So you know exactly what you're delivering. They know exactly what they're going to get, and then there's no gray area, because a lot of companies will ask for revisions, and a lot of times I go back in there and I strike that out, or we compromise on how many. This, though, they don't get that. They absolutely don't get that. Then it says you may earn up to $3,500. Now, again, as I understand it, it's not like you do the work and submit it and then they tell you, oh, wait a minute, this is only for $500. But even if they have the budget set, let's say the maximum of $3,500, the brand has the option of not offering you that much. So let's say you've done the work and you upload it and they say, hey, this is great, we'll pay you $250. Well, if I think it's worth $3,000 and you're going to offer me $250, we have an impasse. And at that point, I don't see that you can negotiate. I see that they go, that's what we're going to pay you. Take it or leave it. I want those negotiations up front before we ever get to that point. I have turned down, actually there's another thing in here that plays to that, but I've turned down projects before because we were so far apart on the value of the work, which leads into the next one. If applicable, I don't know what that means, but if applicable, payment will be sent in 60 days. For me, that's an absolute, positively no. 60 days is ridiculous. If I owe a bill, they want it immediately. Now, this is standard. A lot of companies, a lot of brands, they'll put in the contract 60 days, sometimes 30 days. I have actually said no to things because the negotiations have broken down on the payment. Because a lot of times what I've encountered is they want to pay you after you've produced it and it's aired a certain amount of times and then you get paid. And there's a risk in that. There's a huge risk in that, especially if you're going through an agency. Because if the agency doesn't get paid by the advertiser, there's a good chance you're not going to get paid. And I know of some people that have had that happen. The agency will say, well, I didn't get paid, I can't pay you. But yet you come back and go, yeah, but my deal is with you. So you can see kind of the slippery slope I think that this is. And my compromise, so here's kind of a way that sometimes I negotiate. I always ask for payment up front, period. Absolutely. I'm willing to do split. So if they say no to that, I'm willing to take half up front before anything is done. but then I have to have the remainder of it when the video is done, because this 60-day thing after, anything could happen with that. The other thing is that the brand can use the video as an ad, but again, that's full disclosure, for up to 180 days. That's 6 months. 6 months. That's a long time. But again, you know that going in, you should. You're not creating something for your channel. You're creating something that a brand will use as an ad. And they can use it for up to 6 months. So you have to decide. So let's say you go into this deal and you say, fine, I'll do it for $1,000. And look, I'm not, $1,000 is good money. But then they get to run it for 6 months. You do the math. I don't know how many times they're going to run it as an ad, but that could come out to just like pennies a day. And you have to decide if you really think it's worth it. I'm telling you, having done this for a long time, it is really easy to go after the fast money and just to get some. And I know it's tempting, but sometimes the fast money and the cheap money is not the best money. But then it also says, and this is another thing that YouTube, I'm like, really? Quote, it gives you increased exposure to brands and viewers. Okay, maybe. Now, what are you saying, Kevin? Well, but if I'm doing this and the ad's running out there, wouldn't I get more exposure? Yeah, but keep in mind, the ad is for the brand and the product. So it's brand X, right? You've done it. Brand X is running the ad. They would have to see you, know who you are, what your channel name is, and then go, oh, maybe I ought to check out this creator. You're not doing a spot for you that they're sponsoring. So like I have sponsors on my videos. And a lot of times I'll go, hey, this video is sponsored by. And I'll do like kind of like an ad read or something like that. Or you can do an entire video that the sponsor is paying for. This, though, you're doing an ad for the sponsor, for the sponsor's product, whatever it might be. I just, somebody would have to go, hey, I like that long-haired guy. Let me track him down. I don't think they're going to say, by the way, this ad was sponsored by or produced by Kevin Colby. I get YouTube's intention. I don't buy it. Now, something that was nice, that the brands have the option of using it for an additional 180 days, but they must negotiate that. They must negotiate that. Nowhere do I see that they're tracking this, because when I read a little bit more, and I'll put links to the article that goes more in depth in this, and also linkable ads and things like that. If you want to check it out, the links to that will be below to those articles from Google. But Google, from what I understand, they're not vetting these advertisers. Now, the advertisers have to agree to certain guidelines like FTC and things like that. But at this point, the negotiation, and I say that loosely, is between you and the brand. And I think the negotiation will be like, here's what they're asking for. I did the work. I uploaded it. Oh, man, I hope they get it. I hope they run it. I didn't get chosen. Now, if they don't get chosen, you can keep pitching other ones. But if they want to keep using it, they're supposed to negotiate with you. It says must. I'm going to say supposed. For after 180 days. And how long does that? So they've already had it for 6 months. And my gut is, just kind of go with me here. Let's say you do this for $1,000. $1,000. I know she said up to $35. Let's just say $1,000. And you're good with it. And they run it as an ad for 6 months. And maybe they see enough good response from it. They want to continue it. Well, then they come back to you and said, hey, I tell you what, we'd like to run this for 3 more months. My gut is they're not going to greatly increase that first offer. I could be wrong, but they typically won't. What I have found is sometimes if you lowball your price going in with anybody, a client doing anything, it's hard to raise your price the next time they want more. It's not impossible, but it's hard, which is a whole nother discussion about working with advertisers. Not that they're the bad guys. I've had great relationships with almost everybody that I've partnered with, and I'm so blessed with that. But it's still a business. And if you go in and you start giving away too much because that's what you think or that's what somebody's told you before online, and then all of a sudden you go in at a low price just because you think that's the thing to do just to get the business and the money, I think it's harder to negotiate before that. Now, I'll put a link to the video in here as well so you can watch it. You can decide for yourself. Again, I said red flag earlier. I probably shouldn't have said red flag because I don't think there's anything shady about this. I am so appreciative to YouTube for looking for ways for creators to earn and grow and share our message. I mean, look, YouTube doesn't charge us a dime to upload. This video, I'm not paying them for exposure or anything like that. In fact, as the partner program, I'll get a cut of any ads that run on this, even if I don't have a sponsor in there. That's huge. And of all the platforms out there, nobody pays what YouTube does. So I appreciate all that. I just don't think this is a good deal. I just don't. But my recommendation to you is if you qualify for this and you've never done brand deal and sponsorship deals, really, really think about it. And if you just don't feel good about it, don't do it. There's other ways to make money. I actually did a video that about, the 19 ways I've made money on and off of YouTube. If you want to see that, there's a link down below to that. But there's different ways to make money if that's even your thing. So anyway, leave me your comments. What do you think? If you think this is great, better than buttered toast, that's great. But you know what? Personally, I like buttered toast. Like with a little cinnamon on it. But anyway, love to hear what you think about that. That's my take. Talk to you later. I'm Kevin. See you. Bye.